shan't pass this way.
Oh, Raynard, whatever would we do without you? Plummet off the cliff like lemmings, no doubt.
Niamh squinted and gazed off into the distance. It seemed to her that hundreds of black patches covered the peaks on the horizon. Once she had ridden up closer, she realized these were the windows of homes carved out of solid rock.
Our pride this was,
Sighed Gubble.
Burra's Rump. A city carved out of mountain rock. Hundreds of miles of tunnels, dozens of steelworks, smithies and forges. Now, it's a vast lair to monsters. They ooze from underground, weave their nests, hatch their young, and when hunger hits them in the gut, they prowl down into the pass.
Niamh stood at the entrance to the underground city. The monumental gate, cast in bronze, lay on the ground, folded multiple times as a scroll of paper. Out of blackened windows oozed a stench of rotting meat and mold. The Queen bent an ear to hear water dripping, and, in the distance, a metallic scraping. A sound akin to chitinous scales rubbing against rock.
The soldiers await your order, Your Grace,
said Reynard quietly, as if he feared he would wake the beasts asleep in the caverns.
Do you recall my words as we fled Lyria?
Said Niamh, turning to Reynard.
You swore you would retake your crown, even if you had to penetrate hell to do so.
Time to follow that oath.
The Queen inhaled deeply and stepped forward, her sword raised and prepared to strike or parry. Moments later, it was swinging, fighting, as the current tenants of Burra's Rump came out to meet her.
This stench is foul.
I'd like to make it known that us gnomes don't run so fast. You know, in case you were planning to skip out on the quick.
Shh, cog it. Damn it! They're hatching! Place is about to swarm with creepers!
As you command.
God save the Queen! To the last!
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me. Again and again and again. Yeah! March on.
Don't you worry yourself, my Grace. We'll get it done in no time.
Greetings. What is it?
For the Queen!
This way! Follow me!
Though wounded, Neve approached the Sheomar, which lay writhing on the ground. She then ran her sword through its heart, finishing it. Yet so spent was she that she lacked the strength to pull her blade from between the plates of the chitinous armor.
The beast near took me.
She would... The Lyrians reached a vast hall that had once served the... The stone benches were covered in sticky slime and insectoid eggs, while bats of varying size hung from the crystal chandeliers. Gascon rummaged through old, weathered bones, surely hoping to find something of value. Gabor, in turn, was at a shut and locked door, grappling with it as if it were a deadly beast. The door finally gave way with a sigh, and the dwarf ripped...
It's a storeroom. Should hold miner's tools aplenty,
he said, enthused.
Some barrels of alchemical brews in here, too. Lucky there's no sign of moisture. You haven't soaked through. All we've got to do is roll them out into the corridor and set a bit of fire to them. And woof! We'll have sealed the beasts off from the pass once and for all.
Meve treated the dwarves' instructions as hallowed. Soon after, the mountains trembled from a powerful explosion. Rubble came down. Dark clouds hovered over the horizon, and a strong gale snapped their banners.
Damn it, a storm's coming. Gabor! Take us to the nearest settlement. We must seek shelter.
Soon the Lyrians arrived in Stuhlkamp. The town square proved full of folk. Several dozen dwarves, laden with large sacks and satchels, stood about in smaller groups. When a thick snow began to fall, the dwarves cheered. Tears streamed down the cheeks of several, but Meve could not tell if they issued from some fortuitous occurrence, or if the strong wind had wrung moisture from their eyes.
What is it we witness? Why do they rejoice at a snowstorm?
Asked Meve, pulling her hood over her head.
Well, the Blizzard's good cause to postpone their expedition by another day.
Gabor responded.
See, they've been conscripted by drawn lots to be settlers. Found homes in a village in Blackbrook Vale. 7 expeditions have gone that way already, and none survived longer than a year. Valley's cursed. No two ways about it.
Intrigued, Meve proceeded to speak with the settlers' leader. He confirmed Gabor's claim. He had buried many a previous colonist. All had been abnormally thin, pale, prematurely greyed, as if some wraith had drawn the lifeblood out of them. Once the dwarf had finished his tale, he gripped the queen's hand firmly, and promising a generous reward, begged that she and her Lyrians...
I know not how useful our swords can be against curses and spectres,
said Meve.
but leave you bereft and in need I will not. We shall march with you into Blackbrook Vale and see to it that you are safely arrived. Then we will march on.
The dwarf sped off to announce the good tidings to his settler brethren. By the time the blizzard had abated, they were ready to march.
Be bold. Take on challenges, risks even. But before you...
Stay clear of Borrow's Rump.
Got helicopters.
I need to read about you.
Oh yeah, we're back.
Why do I gotta change my clothes too?
Oh.
What kind of shit is that? Oh my god.
Oh. A Witcher. You're in my mansion. They were the hawks.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
Should have listened to me, old lady.
We'll catch them all!
It happens. You just wake up and you're like, I'm ready for bed. Now we're here. Bring our knights out.
For the Queen!
This artist will be reaping black-clad heads.
Oh. This lad. Oh no. Ah!
God save the Queen!
Oh yeah. Yeah, the music got turned up this whole time. Loud music's been playing. So loud. Oh. We won. Oh. Well, we gotta win this one.
Right, left, right.
These are our drummer boys.
Again and again and again.
God, you better hungry like a wolf I am.
The cavalry has arrived. Oh. What is that? We gotta take that egg out.
There's been a mistake. I'm no mage.
Oh. But look at this. Oh man, that went better in my head. It's a little late for me now. Oof.
Catch!
I'm gonna throw some fire up there. Oh. Ice troll. Into the fires of Narnia you go. Oh. That's not good. But I could dig it. What can you dig it? Oh. That's a timber wolf, if I've ever seen one.
Ever done in a jiffy.
Oh no. Ferocious beer. What's up, Michael?
You know that I'm Batman Beyond?
You're Batman Beyond? It happens. Just wake up one day and you're Batman Beyond. Oh. Can you dig it? Is it bedtime, Michael? Oh. I got a statue. Oh. No. I like my eggs scrambled. Oof. Victory. And Michael's saying it's bedtime. I'm telling Corn that it's bedtime almost. Oh yeah. Did you say you were hungry, Michael? A little bit? Yeah, I found some gold though. Yeah. Gold? Yeah. I've been up for a while.
Neve had stopped and was removing packed ice from her mare's fetlocks when Gabor Zigrin approached. The dwarf squatted at the Queen's side, glanced about quickly, then started speaking in a barely audible whisper.
Your Majesty, I overheard some folk talking in the smithy. Birdies claim there's treasure, true riches, in the hills near Blackbrook Vale, south of you. Stowed away there. Nobody dares go looking for them on account of beasts that have made their lairs there.
Huh?
You've got a wee army behind you. I reckon you could try.
Can't hear you, Michael.
Might be worth the risk, eh?
Not yet.
The Queen brushed the snow from her knees and raising a hand against the glaring sunlight, peered towards the mountains. Though tempted, she had doubts. To start, the rocky scree at their feet warned clearly of avalanches.
I shall think on it,
She answered, before vaulting into her saddle.
Thronebreaker Vale holds many secrets and many treasures.
Not enough gold. Not enough gold. Uh-oh. Gascon has always boasted of something. That there was no other as handsome as he, no other with his juggling talent. Other soldiers simply rolled their eyes and ignored him. However, once during a stop at a distillery, Gascon proclaimed he could hold his ale better than any dwarf. This crossed the line for Gabor Zigrin, who promptly pulled a mug from his saddlebag. Finish your cold ale before Gabor does. Oh. Hear that, Michael? There's trash cans moving outside. Oh. Pasha. Oh. Oh. What's this? Oh. We got a drink. What is this? Oh. Oh. Oof. Gas. Oh no. We weren't good enough to drink the beer. Oh. Oh. Hello? Oh, good. Michael's almost passed out. Yeah, he's like, I'm out, coach. Yeah, I'm about to go to bed too. Okay. Take care.
Impossible. I can't believe it. Gaston, he drank a dwarf under the table.
I've said it before, I think, dear Reynard. You simply underestimate him.
Oh, that's what happens with me. It's the police. Everyone get down.
The following is proclaimed by formal decree of the Elder. From here on in, you're on your own.
You seen Batman Beyond, Michael? You know what that's about? It's about Batman when he gets too old to be Batman. And then he gets apprentice Batman.
Place? Blackbrook Vale.
Quite lovely.
Aye, and damned dangerous. Keep your arms at the ready.
Yeah. It takes place in the future. Oh. See what? Then I want to shave my head bald. Whoa, bro. Calm down. Someone's gotta be bald. Someone's gonna be me.
No.
Oh, yeah. Look at that log. There's a troll. Mr. Troll, I need to cross this bridge. Oh man, this guy doesn't like bridges. Pay the toll, troll. Cross. Oh. Did you lose the lighters already? Oh no! It's on my team!
So... Why are you mad at me?
I'm not mad. Made it past the toll troll.
You're still mad about that?
What, the toll troll?
I ain't doing it all.
Two guys, one cup?
Guys, no.
Oof.
Two guys, one, no girl. Two guys, no girl.
Oh. Oh.
Plus, Mojo is a strong will for the lady.
No, Mr. Pikeman. The ladies? What? Move the troll. I got it now. Hey, these puzzles, they're puzzles, Corin. Puzzles for your mind.
Do you have any clothes for me?
No, I messed up, Michael.
Oh, Batman's son. Batman's son.
Oh. Not Batman's son. He's just like some hobo guy. Yeah.
'Connor. Oh my god, Connor.
We made it!
Wait a minute.
Yeah. That's seductive plant there, Corin. Mandrake. Out of my way, troll. I'll butter that bread. Oh. You gotta hook yourself up with a chick. That's why we've been training you. Send the boys in. $2,000 gold. That's exactly what we need. Oh. My wives. Dusted with snow, an abandoned cart stood in the middle of the road, 2 feet protruding from the back. What happened here? A murder? Ambush? Maeve didn't have to wait long to learn the truth. For a moment she heard a damning howl behind her. Oh. Oh, yeah. Huh?
John.
Oh.
For the Queen!
We'll catch 'em all!
Oh.
Have her done in a jiffy.
God save the Queen!
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
Oh. Who won the round? Comes the next round, though.
I live to serve you.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Oh. I am the Queen.
I think you'll really like this one.
We got a damaged unit? Oof.
This could hurt.
Oh. Dunzos. Yeah. I'm the Queen. All I ever wanted was a bear, man.
Gonna need 3 buckets of nails and a tub full of pegs.
Oh. Oh no.
Arbalista, your command.
Oh. Oh yeah. I rule with an iron fist. Oh. They'll rue the day they came to my kingdom. Oh, there's a hovel over here. We left tribute to the dead dwarfs. Oh no.
Blackbrook Vale. The name itself embodied infamy. Neve arrived expecting misty ravines, decrepit trees bound in spiders' webs and swarms of bats. What she saw was a warmly gurgling stream and the valley's gentle slopes blanketed in crocus blooms. Only a village of abandoned, ruined huts and a cemetery stretching to the horizon behind it attested to the valley's grim past.
The village seems shrouded in a guise. Be not deceived,
said the Queen.
Reynard, some men to search the environs for any sign of life.
The blood-curdling roar that came from the ruins a moment later proved the Queen's caution warranted beyond any doubt.
Uh-oh. It's not for the aid of the Illyrian army, the dwarven settlers would have likely soon perished, shredded by wretched beasts hidden among the ruins. With the help of Maeve and her men, they stood a chance of surviving. However small, the infamous Blackbrook Vale did indeed seem to be cursed. Oh, in the Witcher realm, anything bad that can't happen will happen. It's designed to kill you.
Protect the settlers!
Armor well, sir.
Got him, coach. Oh, those things aren't good for me.
Left, right, left, right.
Hop, hop. Pay's late. Again.
Oh.
Yes?
Got any victuals? Hungry like a wolf, I am.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
That's good. Oof. Is that zombies?
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
Oh. Oh.
settlers!
Give me a time.
Naturally. At once.
It's gonna be a right good levy, big and beautiful.
Oh.
Should have listened to me old lady.
If anyone asks, you've not seen me.
God save the Queen!
To the last!
Oh.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target.
March on.
Stop your yapping and start digging.
Oh. Oh no.
For the Queen! pays late. Again.
Playing The Witcher, the Thronebreaker.
Likely the last, that one. Should be safe now.
Oh.
Following the victory, the settlers' hopes seemed renewed. Could the beasts they felled have killed the previous lot of colonists? Perhaps the curse that had long hung over Blackbrook Vale was at last broken.
We thank you, Your Majesty.
The settlers' leader said, slipping the satchel from his shoulder.
You've granted us new hope. And a new home.
The dwarves had rolled up their sleeves, were prepared to go at the huts to repair them, when one of their number cried out.
Hold! There's something here. Something reeky.
A voice most familiar, thought Neve. Yes, for it belonged to Barnabas, the rescued inventor. The gnome had elbowed his way to the fore, stood on his toes, extended his nose, and inhaled through it like a pointing hound seeking out wildlife. Ignoring all queries, Barnabas had then sat down on the brook bank, filled a glass flask with water, and was now holding it up against the sunlight, dipping into it the tip of his tongue and some strange scraps of paper extracted from the depths of the pockets of his patched coat. Finally, Barnabas stood, brushed his backside clean, and announced his findings.
Well, we know with some certainty the reason for the settlers' demise. 'Twere not beasts, no. They prowled in later, drawn by fresh graves. 'Twas the water. Oh, roll your eyes and whirl your fingers all you want, and then peer at the brook. Nary a fish. All poisoned by subterranean fumes.
The dwarves hemmed, hawed, and grumbled, and were a heartbeat from abandoning the Vale for good. Then Barnabas reached into his satchel and extracted a device of his own making he termed an aqua purificator. That is to say, a water cleaner, as odd as it may seem.
You need but siphon water through this straw. Then drink up, worry-free.
Thus Meve rode out of Blackbrook
put it in your
Vale
mouth.
with deep satisfaction in her heart. The dwarves extolled her for being bold, shrewd, and wise, while Gabor ensured this praise would likewise reach the meaty ears of Elder Hoog.
We're the dwarves of Mount Cadman. Hoo-hoo-ha, hoo-hoo-ha. And 2 hammers is our shot.
The rumors Gabor had overheard were true. Scouts returned with news of a cavern at whose mouth lay rotted logs, an indication that something of great weight may have been rolled inside. Chests full of gold, for instance. Then again, paw tracks clearly showed some beasts had made the cave their home.
Right. Decision time. Enter, or scramble back down.
Said Gascon, rubbing his hands together for warmth.
Please, hurry.
We've scaled this high. Foolish we'd be to descend
Is
empty-handed.
that Christmas
Fall in behind
growth?
me.
The queen took the fore, sword in one hand, torch in the other.
It's not even Thanksgiving yet.
Glow illuminated the cave's interior, casting long shadows. Neve was certain some horror would leap at her at any moment. And she was not at all wrong.
Don't tell Zoom about Christmas. Zoom hates Christmas. Oh. In Russia, they don't celebrate Christmas. But they have the New Year's tree, but never call it a Christmas tree, because the Russians go crazy with anger.
Together now! Anyone here struggle with strong reservations when entering monster-infested pits? Asking for a friend.
March on, march on. For the Queen!
Oh.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
God save the Queen!
Catch!
Oh. For the Horde. That's so fun. Oh, he's got a Sylvanas one now.
We'll catch 'em all!
Ah.
Yeah!
Oh. E2 neckers.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
If anyone asks, you've not seen me.
Company! Forward march!
Oh.
Left, right, left, right.
Treasure trove ought to be close now. Come on.
As soon as the last beast had fallen, the Lyrians took to seeking out the treasure. Soldiers dispersed throughout the caverns in a rush, penetrating every last corner. Finally, one called out.
Got it! Got the treasure right here! Treasure! Shiny stuff!
A number of steel-reinforced chests lay up against the cavern wall. Neve blew the dust from the lid of one and lifted it with some difficulty. She had hoped for gold and jewels, bars of Mahakaman steel at the least. Instead, she saw thousands of time-tarnished copper coins with a hole through their center.
What's this bloody crap? Tokens of some sort?
Aye, that's right. Holy Guldens, we call them. They're, currency in Mahakam. Get our wages in them. Use them to cop victuals and hooch.
What of arms, armor, tools?
Nah, all that's given to us. Clan provides it. Is that what you need? Weapons? Oh, feel the agent now. Brought you here for no reason.
Yet these tokens, they can be exchanged for other coin, can they not? Temerian orens or Novigrad crowns?
Aye, doable in theory, but not at all clever. Rates are crap. See, the elders keep them low to make life difficult for dwarven folk. Discourage them from leaving Mahakam.
So how can these tokens serve me?
We must trade them. Even should we get a pittance, it will be something. The soldiers demand their pay.
Ah, your bums out there, Wendy. Fighting men want full dixies and tankards of hooch. Coins but a means to that end.
What do you suggest, then?
As I've been saying, the tokens we use to purchase nourishment and mead, and what you've got in those chests, why, that'll do to fund a feast the likes of which Mahakam's not seen since Brewer was sworn in as Elder-in-Chief. The fighting men will eat and drink their fill, carouse about and forget their due and pay right quick. And invite the local dwarves to feast with you, and the clans will look kind.
Caution be damned.
Your Grace, I feel obliged to remind you we are at war with Nilfgaard.
Should go to building our army, I know. But we live but once, Reynard. Sir Gabor, Take the tokens, and arrange me a feast so grand that Ebdahi himself shall hear.
As Meave's force could not possibly fit in a tavern, the feast was laid out in a storehouse. Crates arranged in rows served as tables and benches, while the windows were festooned with lion's foot and passflower. Great barrels of mead, cognac, and vodka were rolled in.
No.
When the soldiers saw this, they broke out in cheers and laughter that lasted till dawn.
Pour us another round, you lovable Lyrian bastards!
There was food and drink enough for the dwarves of the pass, who, with Meave's men, raised tankards in hand and voices in song the night through. To see them sharing tales and playing cards, one would not believe that anywhere down the mountains, through woods and across plains, humans and dwarves might, for the softest slight, leap at each other, murder in their eyes.
No, I want to talk to them. This simulator. What I already do.
We would take root neath Mount Carbon, where it's warmer. But allotments.
Riding past a mine, Meave noticed a group of miners gathered around the entrance to a shaft. Frost had settled on their moustaches and beards, suggesting they had been there for some time. The Queen summoned Gabor and asked him to determine the reason for this sit-in. He returned after a few minutes and announced the most curious thing.
They're waiting for the knocking to stop.
Meave's frown prompted Gabor to explain in greater detail.
According to our laws, dwarves can't go into a mine if there's knocking coming from inside. We're obliged to wait for the ruckus to quieten down.
Ah, yes. Our own miners share this superstition.
Reynard interjected.
They say the knocking is that of a treasurer gnome, a kind of mine ghost.
With all due respect, your miners are dimwits,
Gabor said, patting Reynard on the shoulder.
Knocking means an imminent and abrupt discharge of the potential pliable energy of rock formations. In other words, ye ken, a rock burst. Except usually it's all done in a day or two, whereas these lads have been waiting going on 2 weeks. Foreman's grown impatient. He'd like to send someone down the shaft, have him see what's at issue, but, well, the code.
If in this manner I can gain favour among your brethren,
sighed the Queen, dismounting.
So be it. I shall descend and see what the problem is.
The shaft was too narrow to fit an entire army, so Meave and a small unit of men entered the mine, miners' lamps in hand and hearts in their mouths. The rhythmic knocking coming from the bowels of the mount. Soon the company arrived at the place that seemed the source of the knocking. Gabor put his ear to the rock and listened for several moments in silence, then struck the wall with all his might. The wall crumbled with a crash, opening a passage into another corridor, from which sprang numerous foes.
No, not numerous folks. Like 12 hours. Yeah. I go big. I'm only staying on this long because you're here. Oof.
Hear something. What was that?
My gnome senses are telling me. Those definitely aren't ghosts.
There's been a mistake. I'm no mage.
Who goes there? Drop your weapons!
Nay, you drop yours!
RNG. 12 hours? Something about going big and going home? I don't even remember Corn. Oh, I said I'd go to bed. You weren't here
Apologies, Maeve.
already.
I thought you were raining.
March on, march on.
For the Queen!
Left, right, left, right.
God save the Queen!
We must trust each other.
Tell me you jest.
Catch!
To the last!
Reynard! Are we winning? I can't see a bloody thing.
Send this guy out.
I think you'll really like this one.
Her Majesty is exceptional.
Thing about slings, they hide well.
Stop! We surrender!
Sour Fang?
Both sides were surprised. Both fought in the weak light of torches, nearly down on hands and knees. In the end, the Queen emerged victorious, and as soon as she had returned her sword to its sheath, she asked the new prisoners a question that was on everyone's mind.
Who the devils are you?
The captives looked at each other in disbelief, as if before them stood a ghost. Finally, one of them managed to choke out a response.
Your Highness, we're your subjects.
Meave recognized the accent at once. The men came from Rivia. But what were they doing so far from home? According to the prisoner's account, after the Nilfgaardians' invasion of their kingdom, terrible poverty gripped the land. Seeking bread, some desperate inhabitants had gone to the mountains of Mahakam, engaging in wildcat mining in search of precious ores. Without asking the dwarves what they thought of this.
You know yourself, my queen,
explained one captured Riv.
They guard their treasure real jealous-like, don't care a whit about the suffering of others. They see us starving down in valley and don't lift a stubby finger.
Sadly, the Rivians had dug close to existing corridors. When Gabor destroyed the wall that stood between them and the dwarves, they were convinced they were being attacked by monsters, so they raised arms in self-defense.
Maeve, 'tis a tough nut to again,
said Gabor.
But let's nae kid ourselves. These men are thieves, and we must hand them over to the Mahakaman Guard.
So they may do what? Sentence them to hard labor, or hang them at once?
Said Reynard, his usual calm shaken and his voice raised.
These are your subjects, Queen. They coveted their neighbors' goods, true, but only because they had nought themselves.
The foreman wished for the knocking to stop,
said the Queen.
And so it shall. As for you, go back to Rivia, and tell all their queen shall soon return, leading an army.
The grateful Rivs quickly packed up their tools and left the mountains. Meave had no doubt Bruva Hoog would soon learn of the affair and would certainly not approve of her decision. Yet she preferred to face the Elder's wrath than send her subjects to a dwarven prison, or possibly.
Well, boys, we swig and we get back to work.
Oh, back to work. There's a checkpoint up here and we'll call it quits there. Yeah, Sour Fang.
The sound of approaching hoofbeats made Meave turn to see Reynard spurring on his panting horse, galloping at a breakneck speed towards him.
Ill tidings I bring, your grace.
Clearly. Glad tidings never arrive with such urgency.
Our scouts captured a Nilfgaardian messenger. He was traveling in disguise, and by night. When he realized his capture was imminent, he strove to destroy the letters he carried. We were able to salvage some in...
Anything of interest?
Yes, there is, I fear. Your Majesty, you must listen. Consider your offer accepted. Direct Meve and her force to the agreed site. We await their arrival. Your reward shall be as agreed. Hail Keritsa.
A traitor. We might have expected as much. Nilfgaard has shown amply that it abides only by the rules it sets. Since they have not proved able to defeat me in the field, in open battle, they seek other means. I suppose the scroll bears no name.
It does not, Your Grace.
The messenger. Have you questioned him?
Naturally, Your Grace. Alas, he knows not to whom the letter is directed. He was to leave it in an agreed spot.
I take it tidings of the whole affair have spread throughout the force?
Yes, Your Majesty. The witnesses were too many to keep this fact a secret.
We must thus assume the traitor in our ranks knows it as well, and will make no attempt to retrieve the scroll. A dead end. Have we any other leads or clues?
Leave none alive.
None, I fear, Your Majesty. We must be alert. Keep a keen eye on events as they unfold, and exercise great caution in forging new acquaintances.
I chose the path of war. Like at the beginning, it's like, do you want a peaceful or do you want to be warlike? And I'm a barbarian queen.
Very well. Eyes wide open, all senses attuned.
You going to bed, Michael?
In particular, Reynard.
Good night. I'll see you in the morning.
Of course, my liege.
Hmm?
Blanket?
No, I'm good. Oh. Oh. All my men betrayed me. So I gotta go out and make a new army. Oh.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Should have listened to me, old lady.
Thing about slings, they hide well. Hey? Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
This harvest will be reaping black-clad heads.
Oh.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away. The bigger they are, easier they are to target. Thing about slings, they hide well.
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
Oh, you got too much energy for me, Corn. Oof.
This artist will
I'm just
reaping
playing.
black-clad heads.
I was defeated. I dodged these boulders.
This artist will be reaping black-clad heads. There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target. Thing about slings, they hide well.
Aye. Should have listened to me old lady.
Hey?
Oh. Oof.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die. Should have listened to me old lady.
Hey?
This artist will be reaping black-clad heads.
Ever have a storm knock out one of your teeth?
My spirit's willing and how, but these damn boots are killing me.
I've hit the white of an eye from half a league away.
I did it. 1v1 me, mate. 1v1 me outside. Real life. Oh. Here's the big area. Main quest. That means it gets spicy. Sauce gets spicy. Oh no! That's some spicy sauce.
Neve's force neared Davor's abyss. Signs of beastly feasting were not hard to find. Countless paw and claw tracks were impressed in the blood-stained snow. Among the boulders, bones picked clean were strewn about. Gascon lifted one from the ground.
Empty inside,
He said.
Something sucked out the marrow.
Meve soldiers feigned indifference to the grisly sight. They marched on, their stepped rhythm unwavering, a song on their lips. Yet hearing a slight tremolo in their voices, Meve knew they merely sought to drown out their fear. A moment later, a commander's horn sounded, the signal to halt. The Queen galloped to the fore of the column and found herself at the edge of a vast, round hole in the ground. She could not see the bottom. Meve drew her reins tight to prevent her mount from taking even one step forward.
What is this? A crater? A desiccated lake?
A mine of the strip variety.
Gabor explained.
Treasures we picked and shoveled for here. Diamonds. Till we happened on the beasts, that is.
What now?
Four yon's a dam. Holds back a lake. If we can break it, water'll rush in, fill the abyss and the tunnels from which the beasts emerge. Just need to get around the mine first. Way down's on the other side.
Meve squinted and gazed into the distance. Indeed, there was the dam. And at its foot, a swarm of beasts roiled about. Her soldiers gazed at their queen expectantly, their arms at the ready. She knew well they would rush into battle, in spite of their fear.
Gabor!
Meve cried out over the whirling wind.
Have you bards here in Mahakam?
Course, your grace!
Then we shall give them good reason to compose this day, on the themes of courage, of heroism, of Lyria! Gee up!
And with that cry, the queen spurred her mount, grabbed a banner, and raising it high over her head, rushed headlong at the horrid swarm.
Oh. GG. Dwarves delved deep into Devor's abyss, and from it pulled diamonds of unsurpassed qualities. These stones glistened at all the courts of the north, jeweling crowns, caping scepters, studding chalices, and glamorizing ceremonial swords. Some stayed in Mahakam, through in more mundane incarnations, as drill bits or crystal cutters. The days of Devor's diamond delving were long past. Now only monsters crawl out of this dark abyss. Oh yeah.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
Yeah! For Rivia!
Pays late. Again.
I kinda need a restart after that. Everyone.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
I'm coming.
I live to serve you.
Again and again.
That's a good one.
So much anger and suffering.
For what?
Oh.
Catch!
One boat's all I need.
Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides.
Give me a time.
March on. Feel any burning? See a local healer or wise woman.
Oh. What's that? Oh. We were overpowered and we died.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
Army's a waste of time for one like me.
I smell a leak.
There's a time to reap, a time to sow, and a time to die.
Oh.
Oh, Lyrian lummoxes.
the grace. Monsters approach from all sides.
As you command.
Aye.
Left, right, left, right.
Oh.
Should have listened to me, old lady. To the last! Yeah!
I think you'll really like this one.
John.
Uh-oh.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam. To the last!
What do you want of me?
Again and again and again.
Yeah!
We'll catch them all! The chase is on!
This ice might be reaping black clad heads.
Ours is not to reason why.
John.
No time for that.
Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides.
I'm doing it wrong.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
You must sweat like a swine in that jacket.
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
Here's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
Bigger they are, easier they are to target. I'm coming.
Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides.
We'll catch them all!
Don't you worry yourself, Grace. We'll get her done in no time.
There are units adjacent. Oh.
There's the way down. We need to break through and destroy the dam.
An army's a waste of time for one like me.
Discipline shall bring us victory.
Not supposed to be any smoke.
Left, right, left, right.
Got it.
One man's battlefield is another man's ripe patch for harvest.
Naturally. At once.
Make love, not war.
Your Grace, monsters approach from all sides.
Our ballista, your command.
Again and again and again.
Excellent! The dam's about to give!
Company! Forward march!
Oh, Lyrian lummoxes.
Look at those stunners flounder!
Excellent work!
And indeed, bards sang of this battle soon after. for no claws or fangs could break through the wall of shields the Lyrians raised that day. And no scales could protect the beasts from the Lyrians' stinging arrows and blades.
Fight! Do not relent! Let us show these beasts! It is they who should fear us!
The Queen shouted. In the end, the beasts turned to flee.
Yeah,
Yet
it is.
force cut off any chance of escape.
It is them that should fear
A
us.
solid wall of men began to push the monsters ever closer to the edge of Davil's abyss. Pressed from all sides, the horrors began slipping over the precipice, screeching terribly as they fell. Silence came at last. The Queen stood at the edge of the precipice, breathing heavily, leaning on her sword. From the depths of the mine came muted growls and groans.
Let's flood the damn hole,
hissed Gabor,
before any other shite crawls out of it.
A rush of icy water suddenly rose, then just as abruptly plunged into the mine, flooding the pit. And where once lay Davor's abyss, now lay Davor's pond. Meve descended back into the pass, exhausted and covered in beastly blood, yet also exceedingly pleased. She was one step closer to dwarven support in the war against Nilfgaard. Once the Lyrians had put some distance between themselves and the now destroyed monster lair, Meve ordered her men to pitch camp. Then she sent the quartermaster off for food and drink. The soldiers lit campfires, then set aside their weapons. Soon after, lively music and song could be heard throughout the camp.
Your Majesty,
Reynard said from behind Meve's back.
A messenger from the Elder-in-Chief.
The Queen turned to see a dwarf in a richly adorned jerkin and a shaker with golden seams. She stifled her laugh into a smile and lifted her chin proudly, expecting praise and a pledge of aid in the war against Nilfgaard.
My lady, your daring deeds have come to the Elder's attention,
said the dwarf in a measured voice.
He's positively irate and demands an explanation.
Irate? But why? I and my men, we've aided you greatly.
Elder Hoog awaits at the Long Bridge. You'd be wise not to keep him there any length of time.
And with that, all the Queen's enthusiasm for a celebration was instantly gone. She waited until the fires expired and the songs died down, then gave the order to march.
Okay, good night, Corn. I'm off. GG.